Are you talking about Banyan or
Kenny Banya?
Yeah.
What's the deal with Ovaltine? The jug is round, the jar is round. They should call it round tea.
That's right.
That's gold, Jerry.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Dan the Realtor. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into wills, trusts, probate, and strategic wealth planning. Decoding the mortgage maze, refinancing now or later. We got the DMV real estate report, the real estate hot or not. Then we're going to jump into the comment section. Welcome to the Real Estate Wire, folks. What's going on, everybody? I'm Dan the Realtor.
Coach Marcus, what's up, y'all?
And today we got a special guest. We got Michael Forster from Forster Law Firm. What's going on, Michael?
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on?
Good. Hey, can I call you Mike?
Yeah, sure. Go
Is that
ahead.
cool? Is that a thing?
If I can call you Dan, you can call me Mike. So
You call him Danny?
Danny boy.
You know, Dan has a way of jacking up and just messing people's names up.
Why do you keep saying that? Why do you believe that?
Or
That's
calling
not a
them
fact.
what he wants to call them.
No, it's not a fact. I always ask.
It's a fact.
No, I always ask permission first. I say, hey, can I call you this? And then if they say no, then I'm like, all right, what do you want me to call you?
That's cool.
I don't call him Michael if I don't call him Mike if he's like, I hate Mike.
But he said Michael.
No, I meant
But then you jump out and said, can I call you Mike?
Correct. And if he said no, then I would just call him Michael.
But why would you not? Why would you just call him Michael?
Because most people who are Michael go by Mike. Most people who are Daniel go by either Dan or Danny. But there's some people who don't like being called Dan or don't like being called Danny or don't like being called Mike. I got a guy in my office. His name's Matthew. His name's Matthew Brown. And I called him Maddie. I'm like, can I call you Maddie? Because I know a couple Maddies. I'm like, yo, Maddie, what up? He's like, I hate Maddie. I'm like, okay, cool. I won't call you that. But it's good to ask. You know what I mean?
What about Marcus? Do you call him Mark?
You don't let me call you Marky.
You absolutely right. Do not cover that.
I like Marky.
I bet you do.
Mike is a probate attorney. He specializes in probate real estate. We do a bunch of deals together, man. So tell us a little bit about your business and what you do, bro.
Yeah, thank you. I started my own law firm about 10 years ago. So I do help people with probate. I do wills and trusts for planning after your passing. And I do, some real estate work as well. Some foreclosure defense, some quiet title, forged deed, that kind of thing. If there's some issue with the title, I can help do some legal work to clear it up. So yeah, I service people. I service clients in the DC, Maryland, Virginia, all three jurisdictions. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
So let me ask you, I'm gonna jump right into it.
Yeah.
So when someone has a deed issue, and just from my eyes that can't see it like you can see it, it appears that there's something fraudulent that's happened. There is a legitimate process of finding out like what's real and what's not. Like somebody signed somebody's name on the deed and they didn't have authorization, and there's a legit process for that, right?
Yeah, there's a process. I've dealt with a couple of them where fraudsters have come in and signed people's names to deeds. And you basically have to sue them. You have to bring them into court. Really? And then you put what's called a lis pendens. It's like a lien against the property, so that person can't then sell to somebody else. Mm-hmm. And it can be a long process, especially if they dispute it. If they say, oh no, that's actually their signature or whatever. Often the disputes are if there's family members involved. Some people feel entitled if it's a family member, so they might sign their name, and that can be tricky. But yeah, there's definitely a process to straighten that out.
We're going to talk offline.
Me and Mike, we do a bunch of probate real estate together. We get into some funky stuff, man. What was the funkiest deal we had?
Well, there was a time you almost got shot.
That was pretty funny. Which one to do with the bag?
Did you tell that story on the podcast about the house where there was someone stole the bag and all that?
Yeah, he told that story.
Were you there?
I wasn't there. I was at the house before. I left, and then it happened after. And you called me.
That's actually kind of convenient that as soon as you left, my man got robbed.
Yeah.
It was a plant.
A little too conspicuous.
Everything was fine while I was there.
Yeah, funny. I gotta check in on it. Yeah, no, I'm eating a piece of chocolate, by the way.
Where my truffle at? You got?
I got some truffles in the refrigerator if you want.
I'm gonna have to get one of them. I'm not gonna do it now.
They're good, bro.
I know the little white chocolate truffles and the milk chocolate
makes you feel wealthy.
They are. That is some expensive chocolate.
You know, it's like $80 a bag, bro. It got like 3 chocolates in there. This is my gift to myself when I close the deal. That was a crazy deal, bro.
Yeah.
That was a crazy deal. And then we got one going on right now that we won't talk about, but it's like opening up literally like a can of worms. You're just like, you don't know what's going to be in it when you open up a lot of these probates.
Which is a good question for me to ask both of y'all.
Yeah.
How did you get into this lane, and how did you get into this lane of probate sales? And because every single one, you think, I mean, every one you open up is I ain't gonna say it's a problem, but it's
different. I think to that question, I think I'll ask you this question, Michael.
Yeah.
How do you avoid probate?
That's a great question. So the easiest way to deal with probate is to never have your family have to go through it in the first place. So the most surefire way is to put your house and your assets into a trust. So if it's in a trust, you are in control of it while you're alive, and you name what's called a successor trustee. So that person then takes control after you pass away. You don't need a piece of paper from the court saying anything. You just you have authority. So that's the easiest way. There are other benefits as well. For example, it's private. So probate is a public proceeding. Everyone can look up what's happening. But the main reason people usually do it is to avoid probate.
And for people in the cheap seats, this whole show is going to be for people in the cheap seats.
I'm in the cheap seats.
You're the cheap
I'm
seats
for sure
eating the
the cheap
expensive
seats.
truffles. So you got the good snacks.
So what is probate?
So probate, that's a great question. So it's like a process that you have to go through with the court where if somebody dies, usually with assets that aren't in a trust, that don't have an owner, a co-owner, or a beneficiary, then somebody petitions the court to be in charge of all that. It's called the personal representative or the executor or the administrator. There's a bunch of words that are basically synonyms. And then they can kind of take control of the assets, sell them or transfer them, and pay bills, and then pay the heirs. So that can be through what was in somebody's will, if they did a will. If they didn't do a will, then the D.C. or Maryland or Virginia law just controls sort of who gets what. But
so if they have a will, then they won't have to go through probate, or if they have a will, they'll still have to go through probate, but it makes it easier.
Yeah, that's it. Some people think, oh, if I have a will, I don't need probate. But no, will actually is what goes through probate. So they'd have to file the will, and then that's kind of the instructions for what should happen, for who gets to be the personal representative is in the will, and who gets what money, et cetera, et cetera.
So when you pass away, somebody has to sell all your assets and do something with them.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And then the court administers that process.
Yeah, the court oversees it. Yeah, exactly. And it can be supervised or unsupervised. It can get complicated, but yeah, the personal representative is going to be the one signing paper and doing all the deals, like signing an agreement with a realtor, for example. But the court has authority over it.
Will or no will, court is still involved.
That's right.
Okay, and then the next level of that is having a trust.
Right. If the trust is in place. And the key thing is putting all your assets into the trust, then the court doesn't have to be involved. Then it can just be that person who's in charge can sell and move things around. So you got to make sure there's probate assets and non-probate assets. So probate assets are what's going to have to go through the court, and non-probate are what doesn't have to go through the court. So you want all your assets to become non-probate assets, and you avoid it. You don't want to forget a car. You don't want to forget land you own in North Carolina. You don't want to forget, some random bank account with $5,000 in it. You want to make sure everything's in the trust or has a beneficiary or a joint owner on it.
One thing I really find, I think, especially with black people, how much does all this cost?
You're just going to go there, huh?
Yeah, I'm black. So I'm already here. I don't need to go anywhere.
That's a fact.
I'm saying that because I noticed that most of my deals are black folk, right? Most of the deals on the east side of town. I don't get too many probates up in Georgetown. I don't get too many probates in the Palisades, right? So my question is, how much does all this cost?
Yeah, that's a good, and my clients are similar to you. I don't have many in Georgetown or the Palisades either. You mean to go through probate or to set up a trust or both?
So yeah, mom and pop, they work a 9 to 5. They both make $70 each. They got 2 kids in public school.
Right.
Trust, unsupervised, irrevocable.
Right.
Executors. What are you talking about?
It depends. It depends on the firm. I know a lot of firms charge $5,000 for a trust or something, or maybe even more. But for me, I try to keep my prices affordable. It definitely depends on the situation. For like a couple like that, it would probably be between $1,000 and $2,000 to set up. If it's just a single person, with a simple issue, it might be a little less than that, but it's probably somewhere in that range for my services. And again, I think a lot of firms would probably charge more for that, but I try to keep my prices affordable for people.
That's good because at the end of the day, there's nothing free. There's nothing free, y'all. And
love is free.
Love costs something. But
my love don't cost a thing.
I bet you lying. but like you
Shout
get
out to
what you pay for, because there's ways that you can do this stuff on your own and go online and whatever, like you write a sales contract and go to Staples and whatever. But at the end of the day, you're going to be in the jam, and it's worth the $1,000, $2,000, whatever it might be, to make sure that it's done right, and that your assets that you worked your whole life for, that they are protected, and that the next generation is set up for success. And I'm actually glad that you bring it up about Black people, because that is always, I get the same questions, like, what's your fee? I had a conversation on the way here, like, how much do you charge? And like, I'm going to charge what I'm worth, right? And I'm going to charge the proper price to make sure that the job gets done right. And the same thing for you. Like, it's so I think cost is, you get what you pay for, and I don't think cost should be a high. It's a concern for sure, but I don't think it should be for the people out here. I don't think you should really focus on how much it costs, because you want it done right at the end of the day. Find your team that does it right, and pay what they're worth.
I agree. I mean, most people I work with for estates and other things, they might own a house that's worth $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, and so this is a small cost compared to that you want your kids to have that asset. You don't want it to. I hate when I see something, it's not set up the right way and it gets lost, or the equity goes. There's things that can happen if it's not set up the right way. So it's always worth it,
because they didn't want to pay $1,500.
Right.
Now they lost $200,000.
I mean, that's kind of like, I think what I really wanted you to jump on, Michael, because this whole year, this is episode 52, by the way.
Congrats.
Episode 52.
We did it.
And we've been teaching, the Real Estate Wire Squad this whole time how to acquire real estate.
Right.
Yeah. Now it's like, all right, you got it. Now how do you maintain it and then preserve it and then be able to pass it down without, losing it to the state or to whoever in a lawsuit or whatever. So what is then, I guess, the difference between a revocable trust? We're going to get deep in the weeds here, y'all. So
buckle up.
What's the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust? Who needs one? Who doesn't?
Yeah, so the difference is irrevocable is not able to be changed. So it's irrevocable. It stays the way it is. I don't generally draft those. I draft revocable trusts because things happen. You want to change how it's set up, So there's really, you want to have that ability. People come back to me, oh, I had another kid, or oh, my sister died, or oh, I'm beefing with this person, take them off, So you want to have that ability to do that. So I think there's some situations where revocable trusts come up, but not really in my practice. So I don't really deal with them. But that is a question people ask because they hear about them. But it's not usually for my situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And me and Marcus, we do a lot of. We've had a few situations. It doesn't always work out, but where the personal representative is able to buy the property from the estate. So how would that work?
Yeah, that can happen. It's a little tricky because you're, as a personal representative, you owe what's called a fiduciary duty to the heirs to get the best value for everything, so that they get what they're entitled to. And you're not supposed to just go in and take the money as your own personal piggy bank. But you still can do it. I mean, the first step is getting it appraised by a neutral appraiser. So you know that what you're paying is fair market rate, for fair market value for what it is. And then, you keep your finances separate from the estate's finances. And if you go to closing and pay that fair market value, you also want to disclose up front to everybody what's going on, so no one's surprised. People know what you're doing. They don't hopefully that everyone's on board with that and okay with it, which makes it easier. And then, you don't want to fight them going to court, say, because that happens, families get broken up over this stuff. I see it, unfortunately, so all the time. So, you definitely want that appraisal done to know that you got the right value.
What's the longest probate you ever did?
Well, it depends on how you define that. Sometimes I've had people open estates in like 1985 and they close and they come back to me and say, hey, my grandpa's house, he died in 1983. Can we reopen this estate to sell the house? And I'm like, okay, he died the year I was born, but so it can be 40 years. I mean, I see deeds from the 60s. People died in the 70s and they haven't updated the thing. So it can go a long time, and it gets really complicated. But ones I've been involved with, I mean, you're in DC, and that's most of. I mean, I do Maryland too, but most of mine are in DC. It's like a 3-year period automatically that you get, and then you can extend that. So it's probably the one. Maybe I don't know. Maybe 5 or 6 years might be the longest one, having to keep extending it for various reasons. But
I had one take. I think the longest one that I was involved in as a real estate agent was 2 years. And
that's got to be exhausting.
It's not that exhausting. I mean, it
depends how many touches you have.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, if you consider, how long you been in business, Michael?
2012, like 11 years now.
11 years.
Yeah.
The same here, about 12 years, something like that. So it's just like, all right, it's just what you're doing every day anyway. So whether it takes 2 years or 5 years, like we're still in the business. Yeah. But you're just looking at this same file that was open back in like 2019. And you're like, okay. But I had one, and they ended up having to go up to New York and open up another estate. And one of the biggest issues I see in DC, especially again with Black folk, is Grandma Susie owned the house, but Grandma Susie was married to Grandpa Joe. And then Grandma Susie and Grandpa Joe passed away,
right,
and they let Uncle Jack live in the house. Well, Uncle Jack been living there for 40 years. We never knew anything else, and now everybody's passed away. Uncle Jack has passed away, and nobody passed the deed down properly.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. And now you have to open up, sometimes you have to open up Susie's estate. Sometimes you have to open up I think you said Grandpa Joe's estate. Maybe Uncle Jack's estate. Yeah, I've had 3 or 4 probates that have had to go about for one house. 3 or 4 estates at least be opened. That's a very common situation with my clients with Black folk. Is there's some kind of status quo, and like, okay, Uncle Jack can live there. Uncle Jack's happy, he's living there. We don't have to do anything. And then everything's all complicated because you haven't dealt with it for 30, 40 years. Usually, Uncle Jack dying will precipitate someone has to do something, or if they fall behind on the taxes, and it's going to tax sale, that can do it, or people just decide we want our money. But one thing that I would say for people, if you are Uncle Jack in that scenario, is in DC at least, there's the senior discount, there's the homestead discount. You might be paying a higher tax rate because your name isn't on the deed, even though you live there. So you might be better off trying to work this out, even if it doesn't seem like you have to, to get a better tax rate.
Can the trust be revised as time goes on?
Yeah. The revocable trusts are changeable. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, right, because we're talking about like our people for the most part, right? And there's a number of, I think it's safe to say that my friends and family that own property that look like you don't have this issue high 90% of the time, right?
Right.
It's probably 90% of the time that people look like us that do have this same type of issue. What can we put that in can we almost require that to happen? Like, is there a way for us to say, when we do a transaction, I do a transaction, I'm going to set you up with this attorney, and part of this is getting you some sort of estate planning package or whatever like that. Is that legal?
Yeah,
I mean, I can't force them to do it.
No,
but
no, you
but
can't.
like,
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly. Yeah, that's completely, completely legal that you could help set them up with something like that. You could pay for it or not pay for it, or as long as.
I ain't.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm gonna have Dan pay for it.
Yeah.
Dan eating $80 truffles. I'm not.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that'd be going above beyond. Yeah, as long as you're not getting some kind of illegal kickback for it. I mean, there's certainly no reason that you couldn't do that. I mean, it's logical. It's like you're helping them acquire what's probably the biggest asset of their life, right?
And want them to keep it.
And you want them to keep it, and you want their kids to get it smoothly.
Yes.
And after they pass away, if they still own it when they pass away, so I think it makes sense to think about these things when you're acquiring a house.
We're gonna go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Speaking of rabbit hole.
Speaking of rabbit holes, interest rates are down, brother. Interest rates are down, and I mean, look, I ain't excited. I'm not disappointed. We've been talking about this for all 52 episodes. If you have not checked out all 52 episodes, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this content with anybody that you think is dope. Go back and listen to our prior episodes on iTunes or YouTube, wherever you listen or consume content. Decoding the mortgage maze. Refinance now or later. What you got in the coach's corner, coach?
Rates have gotten back to a sensible number. Just flat out, you're talking about people that purchased a home in the last 6 to 14 months, and their rates have been at least 7%. There's some people that, depending on the program, probably in 8, close to 8%. Rates I'm doing right now, refinancing people out of these high interest rates down into the high fives, like 5.8, sometimes 6.3. And I've been saying, you think that an interest rate market of probably 6.5 to 7 is healthy, and that interest rates in the 2 to 3% is unhealthy, which I do agree with that, right? It benefits because you're payment, but it doesn't do anything for the overall market. But here we are in an interest rate environment that's an average somewhere in the mid sixes, right? Promotes a healthy real estate environment. So if you own a home, it is a wonderful time to do. If it's a VA loan and you're a veteran, you've purchased a home using that VA benefit, we need do what we call an IRRL, interest rate reduction refinance loan. And that's a streamlined refinance, no credit check. You don't have to do any income qualifications, no appraisal needed. All your closing costs are rolled into the loan. Higher rate drops to a lower rate. It gets done in a matter of 15, 17 days, right? Wow. Same thing for an FHA. If you have an FHA loan, you have the same type of qualification. It's an FHA streamline. You have 2 options. If you do an appraisal, then you can roll your closing costs in. But if you don't do an appraisal, then you got to pay your closing costs at the table, right? But the focus is dropping the rates. Overall, I mean, rates in the low 6s, mid 6s. It's a really, really good time. And in one of my group chats, they were saying, like, you get some opposition because, which I can't really imagine why. But I do know that the Feds have talked about dropping the rates anywhere from 3 to 6 times over the next 12 months.
Yes.
Which is ridiculous, right?
Ridiculous.
If they drop the rates 6 times,
they do. I know
that's a bait and switch.
Are you ready for the conspiracy theory hat? Come on,
but hold on. but in theory, if they're
trying to destabilize this country, bro, I guarantee it.
But check it. If they said that, we're going to drop the rate 6 times over the next 12 months, that means every other month we have rates moving.
Bedlam.
Correct, bedlam. That's the word I was actually going to use. If they do it
Crazy,
3
bro.
times, that's cool. That's fine. Like 3 times rate drop, you could probably stay stable in that. But the question people have asked, well, why would I refinance now when they're going to drop the rates in 2 3 in next year?
That's
you don't know if they're really going to do it. Number one.
Right.
So if you're playing with house money, like if you got an 8% rate and I can get 6.25%, which is 6.25, and it drops my mortgage payment $500. What are you talking about? You can't time the market.
Bro, these dudes went to Wharton Business School, Harvard freaking Business School. You think they don't know this? They know. If we know, I ain't even barely graduated from high school, bro. This is just basic and economics. Right. They know this. They're doing it intentionally because they're constantly trying to destabilize the market, because when the markets are destabilized, people get rich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. So What I heard
They
20
do it on
years.
purpose.
What I heard 20 years ago is
Take my
that
conspiracy theory.
fortunes are made in a down market. Right?
For some people.
I heard that 20 years ago. You ever heard that statement? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
and but
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I remember reading. I think it was a Malcolm Gladwell book that like
I
a
thought you were
certain
gonna say Malcolm
percentage of like the most.
Which one? The Outliers?
Yeah, I think it was Outliers.
Yeah, I
it
read
was
that
like
book.
a certain percentage of the most
I'm not
wealthy
shocked.
people of all time were born in like a 5-year period, and they all were around, and the Great Depression or whatever else, and it was because they could buy in certain eras, and
Mm-hmm.
when there's that, yeah, I mean. Tyrion Lannister. I said that too, right? Chaos, or no? What was it? It was the other guy. It was Littlefinger. I don't know if you guys Game of Thrones guys. Where it was like Chaos is a ladder.
Yeah. What'd you think about the ending?
I hated it. Yeah. I don't know. I hated seeing it have Daenerys.
I thought it
take
was
that
weird.
turn.
I feel like they didn't explain a bunch of stuff. Like, what was that part in the beginning with like the little ice people that got turned into the White Walkers? I was like, how did they never connected that?
No, they didn't. Yeah. I don't know. Talking about Game of Thrones.
Oh,
You down in the
Yeah.
GOT? You down with GOT? Yeah,
you know.
me.
I peeped it. I just didn't.
You never got into Game of Thrones?
I watched it a little bit, but I.
You ain't never watched Game of Thrones? You ain't black? Nah, Game of Thrones is yeah, it was dope. And then at the end, I thought they were gonna like. I thought that the whole plot line with Jon Snow dying and then coming back.
Spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen it 5 years ago,
Yeah.
spoiler.
My mom spoiled that for me, and I never forgave her.
You haven't forgiven
I
your
was like,
mother for that?
I'm gonna catch up on Game of Thrones. I watched it later, and I was like, Jon Snow died. She's like, he comes back, and I was like, thanks a lot, Mom. But anyway, no,
Don't hold that grudge, bro.
I'm just
Don't hold
kidding.
that
I'm
grudge.
just kidding. I've forgiven her, but I think enough time has passed now that
Allow forgiveness in your heart, bro.
Yeah.
But if she does it again,
Yeah, she can't do it again. Yeah, that's
so
right.
I guess they're coming back for another one. I heard.
don't spoil House of the Dragon or whatever it's called.
Oh, that one's dumb, bro.
Yeah, it's
The
nowhere near as
Dragon
good.
House or
Yeah,
something. It's kind of weak.
Yeah, it's pretty.
But I mean, the first season of Game of Thrones. Well, no, the first season of Game of Thrones was dope. So
yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. Marcus, what's the difference between a? I had this question from a. Oh, actually, that's in the comment section. Ooh, teasers. Let's get into the DMV real estate market update report. So the joke for that, Michael,
What's that?
is I call it something different every week because I haven't really, in the 52 weeks that we've been shooting this podcast. Most people, statistically, when they shoot a podcast, don't make it past 20 episodes.
Yeah,
What's the average number? Like 12? Or
12, something like that. So
yeah, you're an outlier.
we are an outlier. We're outlying. Outlasting y'all suckers. All right.
That's right. This is you guys the only real estate podcast on the internet, right?
only
This is
one.
the only one.
Only one.
There can only be one. Hey, did you ever see that movie, The One, with Jet Li?
No, I don't think I did.
That's an old school
all
joint.
Yay! That's my favorite one. I met this other Dan the other day at a holiday party, and I dropped the One reference. He didn't get it.
Was that a 90s movie or 2000s?
2000s.
Yeah.
Basically, the premise was there's multiple universes, and in each universe there's a version of you. And when one version of you passes away, that she is dispersed throughout the rest of the versions of you. Kind of like an estate sale.
Right, yeah.
Kind of like heirs. Trying to bring it relevant.
Yeah, right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Make it relevant. So
That's right.
so basically Jet Li had a version of him that was like going around to all these other universes, killing all the other versions.
So he'd get stronger?
Yeah. And so the good Jet Li and the bad Jet Li were like fighting each other. So the good Jet Li, obviously he was good. And he just started noticing that he was getting stronger for some strange reason. He didn't know why. And that was why, because the bad Jet Li was going around to all these other universes, killing the other versions of him. And then they finally fought
Is
each
that the
other.
one with Aaliyah in it?
Was Aaliyah in that? No, you're thinking of Romeo Must Die.
Oh. Jet Li. So who wins, Jet Li or Jackie Chan?
In a fight? It's kind of racist, but
No, I'm saying because they were kind of like
why
is
does
it
that
the same
matter?
race?
no. Well, what I'm
Of
saying,
all the other like,
but you know, like when you say okay, Kobe
why not Jason
LeBron,
Statham and
Jordan versus whoever, right? Jordan,
why
like,
not Jordan versus Bird? You're racist, bro.
Because
I'm not happy
we
with
already
this
been through
version.
that. There was a video game Jordan versus Bird. That joint.
Oh, was it? I wasn't allowed to get that.
But are
one.
there any white martial arts actors, though, you know?
Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal.
Seagal,
Chuck
right?
Norris.
Seagal, that's true. Okay, yeah, you got Chuck Norris.
Chucky Who else? That's it. It's just two.
Yeah, just two. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
But I hear that Steven Seagal is actually like a really good, like, what's it called? Aikido. He does Aikido.
Oh, okay.
So everybody's like, can Steven Seagal really fight? Like, yeah, he actually can fight. He can really
run up on him and see.
Yeah.
Bro, yeah. But he does that Aikido stuff, which is like, according to Joe Rogan. Shout out to Joe Rogan if you want to jump on our podcast.
Joey,
what up, Joey R? This is my man's. Yeah, so apparently, like, Aikido is for like sword fighting. It was from like Japanese.
Oh, okay.
It was like if you lost your sword and somebody was coming at you with a sword, Aikido or Aikido, I can't remember. I think it's Aikido, is meant to like help you disarm somebody with a sword, which is why it's like, like it's all about like
or get disarmed.
Momentum. Disarmed. That was good because you cut both your arms off.
Yeah.
Solid.
I wonder who came up with that strategy.
That fighting. Are we doing dad joke?
That wasn't a dad joke.
That was a dad joke.
It was a good one, though.
It was solid. It was something.
It was good. You caught it too.
I mean, you caught COVID, but that don't mean you liked it. You know what's crazy about COVID? Remember, everybody used to be ashamed of COVID. Like, don't tell anybody I got COVID. And it was like, why are you? What? You caught a cold. You're not hiding your cold.
I think.
Marcus caught the Vitty, is what I'm saying, y'all.
Be out there.
He caught that vitiligo. Can we focus?
Keep going, because we off the rail.
How are you, man? Because we missed last week because you had that Vitty.
That's not why we missed last week.
Why did we miss last week?
You had a training last week.
Oh, so it was my fault.
Yeah,
sorry.
But it all was good because I actually wasn't feeling good, and
because you had that Vitty.
But I quickly got better and
what you take?
Tested negative.
And negative is positive.
My wife gave me these crazy like all natural medicine cocktails. I was popping these vitamin something. I have to ask her what it is, but it's something silver. I just take it like elderberry. I just take it. I'm like, I trust it.
What do they call it? Silver, colloidal silver.
Yeah.
Oh, you took some colloidal silver.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
It was a bunch of all natural stuff, and like you right back at it.
Nice.
But you still gotta be safe according to CDC guidelines.
CDC is a political organization.
I understand.
They have nothing to do with medicine.
Take the hat off.
I'm putting it back on. Anyway, let's not get banned on YouTube for, saying true things. Sorry, YouTube gods. So, the DMV Update Market Local Insight Report. As of November, we have new listings are down, new pendings are down, closed sales are down 9.1%, and home prices for November are up 5% from this time last year. Last year, we had a median sales price of $500,000, and this year we have a median sale price $525,000. So, what do you think is going to happen, Michael, after interest rates go down?
Oh, wow. Okay. So, I got legal training. I'm not, a market expert like you, but I am, an amateur follower of such things. With a disclaimer that I'm not an expert. I always, as a lawyer, I have to give you like 2 minutes of preamble about why not to sue me based on what I say,
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah, get all the caveats and disclaimers I can. I don't know. I think interest rates will go down. I think that will make a few more people try to sell, a few more people try to buy. Prices might go up a little bit. Maybe there's more closed deals. I don't know. I know a lot of people I talk to are kind of waiting to sell, like in probates and things like, oh, maybe 6 months we're going to make an extra $100,000 or whatever if I wait, and that might be a little optimistic. But I don't know. I think everything is going to go up a little bit as far as the amount of inventory and the amount of buyers, and then the prices go up a little, but who knows? It's just my uninformed take.
That's very informed.
Oh, thank you.
It don't sound too. It's not inconsistent with what we've been talking about.
Yeah,
it's not inconsistent with what we've already seen. Yes.
Right.
Jerome Powell seems to be immensely confused about all of this, but that's a good take. It's about as good as any.
Maybe he should be your guest 53.
Man,
Jerome Powell.
I've been calling that man, but he don't answer his phone calls.
Or Jerry.
Jerry. You watch Seinfeld?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You watch it?
Yeah, I love Seinfeld.
You're a Seinfeld guy?
Yeah, I love Seinfeld.
I got my wife on Seinfeld.
Yeah,
finally.
Are you talking about Banyan or
Kenny Banya?
Yeah.
What's the deal with Ovaltine? The jug is round. The jar is round. They should call it round tea.
That's right.
That's gold, Jerry.
Yeah, it's gold, exactly.
What's your favorite season?
Before Larry David left, so probably I don't remember the exact seasons. Not the last couple, not the first couple. So maybe 5, 6, 7, somewhere around there.
What do you think about the last episode?
I thought I didn't like it at the time, but I think in retrospect it was all right. Yeah, I don't know. It would have been nice to have like. I feel like it kind of betrayed the thing. The show. The whole thing was like, we're going to be awful people. Nothing bad's going to happen to us. It's going to start over next week, and they're like, okay, now something bad's going to happen to you for being a bad person. I don't know. It felt like a betrayal of the core sort of thing of the episode. You know, I don't know how I would have ended it. I mean, it would have been hard to figure out. How about you? What'd you think about that?
It's okay. Yeah. I like anything type of show. To me, the ending was just, it was like, oh, all right. In the time, I didn't like it. Probably like you. See, there's something wrong with that button, man. It's
my button?
Yeah, it's too high.
Yeah. I have a, see,
that was a Seinfeld reference.
Oh, I thought you were talking about my particular shirt. Is that when Elaine was showing off her?
No, that was the first episode.
Oh, right. That's right.
And the last episode,
that's right. They had the same
he did the button. He was like, that button's in the wrong place.
Yeah,
it's too high. It's in no man's land.
Yeah, I want someone to invent a shirt that just has like 30 buttons so I can picture exactly how much chest to show off, you know? Sometimes you're up too high, I don't want to look like a nerd, but then I don't want to like be like showing, you know, like chest off like a, you
forgot the word. What did you say?
I didn't say anything.
You said something.
I didn't say nothing.
Don't press the 30-second back button on your podcast app. Yeah, okay. But yeah, essentially, sure.
Yeah, I like. So, who's your favorite character? Oh, you don't watch Seinfeld. I don't watch it
like that.
Shout.
I would have said Kramer, but he's since been canceled. So
he ain't been canceled. Only people who cancel Kramer are people who don't watch Seinfeld. It's like, all right.
Yeah, guys, actually, you know what? As I've rewatched it, actually, Elaine's my favorite character.
Really?
I used to not be. I used to say Kramer or George or Jerry, but I don't know. She's got a lot of great lines. I feel like she's ahead of her time. You know, she's just. I don't know. She's just interesting. Like the one woman in this group of dudes.
And she always had like So I used to watch it with the. I was like real nerdy with it. I used to watch it all the way through, and then I watch it all the way through it again with the comments on, with the
the commentary.
The
commentary, yeah.
The commentary is dope. You gotta watch the whole season through with the commentary because then it like changes your perspective a little bit.
Yeah.
And they used to talk about little things that Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I guess, would do that weren't really written into the script that she would just do.
Interesting. Yeah.
You start to catch it. It's like, wow, that's like brilliant. You know, like a line, and she'd just be like. You know, or she'd do like a little thing, and you'd be like, "Wow, that's like."
Yeah, I mean, I think she might be the best comedic actress of all time.
She's solid.
She was great on Veep. Yeah.
I never saw her on Veep.
Yeah, she was great on that too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can't see her outside of. I always liked George because I thought George was, I think, the hardest character to play because he didn't really have like. He didn't have an extreme like Elaine. Obviously, she's the girl. She can play that.
Right.
Kramer, he has no limits, so that's his role. He's the no limit guy, right? The physical guy. Jerry's Jerry, obviously.
He's just a straight man, basically, while the craziness is happening around.
Exactly, right? And then George was kind of like he was just the average guy, right? So it's really hard to play an average guy who doesn't really have any particular like other than being neurotic and like bald, bald and fat or slightly overweight and shaped like Humpty Dumpty with a melon head. Other than that, it was like so for him to be able to play that was, I think, play a solid C student was really
he was great. I mean, they were all great. It's hard to pick the favorite, but
I can't talk about black movies. I can talk about Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I tried to get into it though, and there was something about it that I couldn't really get into, but I did find it funny and like in spurts, right? It almost like I liken it to my experience as a young guy trying to watch Cheers. Cheers was super funny, right? But only in certain spots to me, because I was comparing that to the other sitcoms that I absolutely love.
Did you ever get into Friends?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I hated Friends.
Yeah.
You like Friends?
I did like Friends.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't like it more than Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I didn't really watch it that much.
Would it get in the way that you're watching a show set in New York and like everyone's white somehow? Would that does that ever register? It's
yeah, of course.
How is this New York City, right? Like,
that's weird to me. It's just like
I never noticed that as a kid, but you know.
Yeah, no, I notice it all the time because I'm black, obviously, and I'd be like, ain't no black people. Where the black people? Ain't no black. And then I think the first black person they had on there was like 8 seasons in, and that was like Aisha Tyler or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was like, oh, you guys finally made your way around the cat. And to me, it's just like you have to go out of your way in order to not cast a black person,
right?
Because there's black people everywhere. So it's like, unless only white people are showing up for the casting calls, which is just
I doubt that. Yeah,
I'd strongly doubt it. So yeah,
that just means the writers are not writing it in,
and maybe there's no black writers to even suggest it. You know,
right. And maybe they're white writers who only have white friends, so they're writing about their own experience. So
right, and they go, "Oh yeah, black people exist. That's right.
Right.
Guess we should write them into the." You know, it's kind of like, y'all ain't think about that
into
the
cast that's set in a city that's got what 2 million people or 3 or how many
people New York got in New York? 2 million.
I think they're like 9 million.
9 million people
in New York City.
Yeah. There's 700,000 in DC, so there's way more in New York. I don't know.
I thought we had more than 700,000. I thought we had 1 million people in DC.
I think so. Not anymore.
No?
Or yeah.
Show.
Yeah. They're both. That's under 1 million. So I think I don't know. I thought if you count all 5 boroughs, I thought it was like 9 million.
Like 8.468 million.
Yeah, so pretty close.
But that's 2021 numbers that they're saying.
Jeez.
LA's got 3.849. Chicago's got 2.697. Manhattan by itself, or the state of New York, got 19.8 million.
Right.
And then it says Manhattan got 1.6 million just by itself. That's a lot of people in a small spot.
Yep.
And I saw this video on Instagram. Speaking of that, and we'll get back to real estate stuff in a second.
Speaking of videos.
Right. I saw this video on Instagram. It was like this person walked into. They were showing a $2,000 apartment.
I think I saw that, and it was like just like one little room.
You walk in the door, and the room was and you could almost and there was no shower. It was one little sink in the thing.
Like a communal
window.
Shower.
Yeah, one window, and then they had 2 showers on that floor, and then 2 showers on the floor like lower. I was like, there is absolutely no way.
You gotta be a beast to own that building, bro. You renting out closets. That's dope. I wonder how much the building costs. Building must cost like
20 mil.
Probably, maybe 10 mil, 15 mil, something. Probably. How many units was in it? You don't know.
I don't know.
But probably a bunch.
You probably got 50 units in that building.
Yeah, who are the people that own these buildings?
$100,000 a month. What do you say?
Who are the people that own these buildings?
Probably REITs.
Yeah.
Real estate trusts, real estate investment trust. Maybe we'll do an episode on REITs. We'll do an episode on REITs.
I didn't even know what that was until you just said it.
Well, now you know.
Because I was like, who's REITs?
Let's get into who's Reek? Reek?
Game of Thrones character.
What'd you say?
It's a Game of Thrones character named Reek.
Dude, that was the most disturbing season.
It was, that was disgusting and disturbing.
This is crazy. Like that was like one of their darkest. Like, I was glad when that season was over, bro. I was tired of seeing it.
Did you read the books? The books will get really dark too. Yeah.
You read the books?
Most of them, yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. You read the Lord of the Rings books too?
I read those as a kid, yeah. My mom loved Lord of the Rings, so she made me read them. So, I liked reading it, but...
Yeah.
All
right, let's get into the real estate hot or not. All right, you got to do it with us.
All right.
Ready? Okay. Let's get into the... You have to say it with us, House.
Do I say hot or not?
No, you say or not part.
Okay.
All right. Good. Here we go. Let's get into the real estate hot
or not.
He added a little inflection at the end of it.
All right.
That was different.
So I'm gonna start with you.
All right.
Rapid fire. All right. I'm gonna give you 5 questions, and I'm gonna give you 5 questions.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
If you had to be a Disney character, who would you be?
Does it count Pixar or just originals?
You ask what?
Your Honor.
I mean, if it's Pixar,
you failed.
Damn it.
No, go ahead.
Say Lightning McQueen. If I can, I want to be a car. That'd be really cool. If it's original, I don't know. I mean, Goofy had a lot of fun. I don't know.
Okay. What is your Hogwarts house?
I guess Gryffindor. Unless
I don't
that's
even
really
know
basic.
what that is. What animal would you be in another life?
Oh, damn. I don't know. I was drawn to turtles. They have their own protection. They live like 200 years. Like,
Okay.
They just kind of, yeah.
If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing, what would it be?
And can it be money or no? I'll say money because
Okay.
I can buy most things.
Last one. If your life was a story, what would it be titled?
Oh, geez. That's a hard one to do rapid fire. Ooh, god damn. Sorry, I don't know if that counts as a curse word.
It does.
It doesn't.
I would say Michael Forster. Don't call me Mike. No, I don't know. I don't know. One man's journey from
Milan to Minsk.
Milan. I don't know. Or Michael Forster. Yes.
Seinfeld reference.
That's right.
Y'all on these shows, Seinfeld and Game of Thrones today. I ain't mad at it.
That's right. Yeah. So there you go.
Next round, Danny.
Are you asking me the same question or different question?
No, you already know. I gotta keep
it would
you
be
on
fair
your
to give you the
toes,
same.
What one thing is just the cutest?
What one thing
One thing is just the cutest.
is just the cutest?
Just the cutest one thing. What's
My
that
kid.
one? Okay. What one thing is the ugliest thing you've ever seen?
Also, my kid. No.
I was gonna. A bed sore.
Ooh, your bed sore?
Woo.
Or someone
No,
else's
mine
bed
is
sore?
healed. Another bed sore.
Name the first word that comes to your mind.
Corn.
What's the most interesting thing in your wallet?
I don't have a wallet.
Okay.
Wait, I do have a wallet. My driver's license?
Okay. What's your favorite holiday?
I don't have one. Thanksgiving?
Okay. All right, cool.
All right, your turn. What kind of landscape would you like to live in?
Are there multiple choice? You're just saying
What type of landscape would you like to live in? Rapid fire.
mountains, country,
What were you afraid of as a child?
swinging on the swing set too high.
One subject you would like to learn more about.
Spanish.
What's a good spy code name for you?
Don't tell nothing.
What do you collect?
Sneakers.
What's your
guns.
favorite type of stationery?
A nice pen.
What's your favorite age you've been so far?
This one.
Okay, good.
Nice.
I was like,
Let me retract that.
Nah, too late.
Okay. All right. Now.
That's
now,
it.
No. We got a few more.
Hey, Dios.
Alright.
Now I'm going back and forth.
Okay,
So,
all right. I gotta go faster this time.
Yeah.
I think I was a little slow in mine.
all right. Just right at it. Okay.
All right.
I'm a point, so you gotta watch me.
All right.
What's your favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni.
What's your favorite beverage?
Soda.
What's your least favorite beverage?
Martinis.
What's your favorite color?
I don't have one. Blue.
What's your favorite? You lied because it used to be green. What is your
That's what I said because I don't have one. I just lie every time.
Just say what they want you to hear.
What's your favorite dessert?
Ice cream.
What's your favorite animal?
Cats.
What's the last thing you watched on TV?
I watched Squid Game reality TV show.
Where do you go when you want to be alone?
Right here in my cigar lounge.
And both of y'all, what's the best thing you ever eaten in a restaurant?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oysters.
I don't know. So many good things. I had some. There's a place in DC called the Dabney, and they have. I don't know. Everything's just really good there.
I'm gonna
So I'll just say whatever's there.
Okay. Okay.
All right, let's get into the comment section.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, we should do that.
So are these
Shout out to
comments
Bob
from
Barker.
last week, or are these comments?
No, this is actually a question that I got
Oh, okay.
from a friend of mine. So this actually is for Marcus, the mortgage coach.
Really?
Mortgage coach.
Did they put my name in there?
They did not. put your
Okay.
name in
That's
there.
wild.
They
Okay.
did not put your name in there, sir. All right. We should do a show where we talk all old English.
I can't do that.
Ah, come on, you rapscallion. All right, here we go. What's the... I'm trying to spice it up for the second season coming. Pause. All right. Question for you, Coach Marcus.
Yes.
What is the difference between a mortgage broker, a lender, and a bank?
Banks are controlled by FDIC. They're federally insured by the FDIC. They have their own sort of products, process, flow that you basically do it their way. They have a small cachet of products, and more than likely they're going to be the most conservative of all mortgage lenders.
What do you mean conservative?
Meaning their guidelines are really tight. In order for you to get the money, you have to jump through a ton of hoops usually for them. Because they have what we call, there's always basic guidelines, but then they add their own spin to the guidelines or their own things onto it, and we call those overlays. What you said, what was the second?
Lender and then mortgage broker.
So a lender is an independent mortgage lender that has they're not FDIC insured. They're not a bank. They're not a credit union, but they have a wide array of mortgage products that they have decided to say, we want to offer this thing within our arm's reach. It's a bigger box, if you will, than that which you get from a bank or a credit union. So they do a lot of different things. They do down payment assistance programs, do all the different things. All right. And it's good for who they're good for, and it's not for who they're not.
Can you give an example of a lender?
I'll name, I hate throwing these names, but Movement Mortgage, McLean Mortgage, Intercoastal Mortgage.
Sandy Spring? Or is that a bank?
Sandy Spring is a bank, but they have a mortgage division. Name some others that you know.
Rocket Mortgage.
Rocket Mortgage.
That's a dirty word in this room. I don't know.
She whose name shall not be mentioned.
You got like the companies I used to work for. Security National Mortgage, NFM Lending.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah, Academy Mortgage.
The Iron Bank. Don't forget about them.
Of course. From Davos, of course.
So that's your independent mortgage lender. Now you have a broker. So a broker is a self-contained entity, which I've worked at all three, and I've kind of graduated from the bank, credit union, independent mortgage lender. Now I'm a broker. So I'm a self-contained entity, the Fields Mortgage Group. I have partnered with 200 wholesale mortgage companies. So I don't have any money of my own, but I take an application from your clients, look at all the details, and then I go and I shop around with the 200 mortgage lenders that I'm connected to that are reputable banks, reputable lenders all throughout the country. Now, your advantages are, with me, you don't have all the middlemen. It's just your client to me, straight to the money. With an independent mortgage lender, you got the client internally to that independent mortgage lender. You've got to pay for their commissions. You got to pay for the compliance department, marketing, blah, 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 blah. So their margins are higher because they have a business or a corporation to run. And then you go to a bank or credit union. You're just coming in there and saying, hey, I want this mortgage. I want to do whatever. They've got different departments that can help you and service you. Process takes a little bit longer. The service might not be as high because at a bank, credit union, they've got thousands of members that they're, whatever you don't want to do, okay, get out the way because I got somebody else standing in line. So your service levels are at its peak when you work with a broker. Your rates and your fees are at their cheapest when you work with a mortgage broker.
Right. So you don't have some expensive office space on K Street that you spend tens of thousands of dollars on.
Absolutely
You pass
not.
on to the customers.
This is pretty much what my expense.
Yeah.
It's a laptop that I've already owned, so a database, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I can work from the house. I can work sitting there, in Dan's office, your office, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have to have brick and mortar that I'm paying for.
Y'all got that? All right. Last question. Before we get to the last question, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this content with anybody that you think might think is dope. We like to ask all of our guests, most of our guests, this question when we have time, which we do. So I'm going to tailor this to your specific...
I want to see how you're going to do that.
Well, you finna see. Where do you see probate, estates, and trusts and the role of probate and estate attorneys 20 years from today?
Ooh, good question. Well, I'll say that court systems are some of the slowest to change. So things stay the same in a lot of ways, over time. So a lot of things, I'm sure with the DC courts or with the Maryland courts or anywhere else, won't change too much over time. But I think more people I think more people will try to, be aware of trusts and avoiding probate. I think that'll be something that more people will do and be educated on. Hopefully, that you don't have to go through that process unnecessarily. I don't know how I don't know if like an AI chat GPT kind of world changes much. I know some attorneys got in trouble for using it because their chat GPT like made up court cases that didn't exist and they filed them, and the judge is like, this is an actual case. This is just words that are not so. And this happened a couple times already, actually, which is that. Yeah. So, I don't know what technologies might affect that particular industry. I mean, you kind of need a person who can prepare things and file with the court, and so I don't know. It's hard to see, but I guess I would say most things would be the same. But hopefully, consumers are more educated on how to pass things on.
Yeah.
All right. Solid.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you guys for jumping on to the Real Estate Wire podcast. If you, again, are listening on iTunes, make sure to leave a 5-star review and leave a comment below so we know how dope we're doing. Unless you think it was weak, then tell us that you thought it was weak. That's fine, too. We cool with that. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notifications button so that you're the first person to know that when we drop new content. Where can they find you at, Michael?
ForsterLawFirm.com is my website, so it's FORSTER. Everyone's always misspelling my name, but ForsterLawFirm.com. Has all my information there. My website is, or my phone number is 202-400-2489. You can call, make an appointment, and happy to help anybody out.
Where can they find you at, Coach?
At Mortgage Coach Marcus and at Fields Mortgage Group on Instagram.
And I am Dan Wheeler, Sells Homes on all platforms. Thank you guys so much for jumping on. Thank you, Michael, for jumping on the pod.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thanks for having me.
For all of us here at the Real Estate Wire podcast, we are out. Solid.
Great. That was fun. Thank you for having me. That was
good, huh?
Yeah.